You think safety is protecting you. But right now, in this very moment, your need for safety is killing everything you were meant to become. Every single day you choose comfort over risk, you are paying a price, and the cost is not immediate. That is why it is so dangerous. The cost accumulates silently, invisibly, until one day you wake up and realize you have spent your entire life preparing to live instead of actually living. Carl Jung understood something most people never grasp until it is too late. The psyche does not reward safety. It rewards growth. And growth only happens at the edge of what you know, at the boundary of what feels secure, in the territory where your persona can no longer protect you from the truth of who you actually are. Listen carefully. What I am about to tell you will make you uncomfortable. That discomfort is the entire point. You have been taught that staying safe is intelligent, that avoiding risk is mature, that waiting for the perfect moment is wisdom. This is a lie. This is the ego protecting itself from transformation. This is your shadow convincing you that smallness is safety when really it is just slow death. You are not here to be safe. You are here to become whole. And wholeness requires you to face exactly what you have been avoiding. Before I go further, if this resonates with you, if you know you have been playing it safe for too long, subscribe to CJ Legacy right now. Do not wait until the end. Do not tell yourself you will do it later. That is the same pattern keeping you trapped. Break it now. Subscribe. Because what I am sharing today will challenge everything you believe about security, success, and what it actually means to live a meaningful life. The first hidden cost of staying safe is this. You lose your aliveness. You become a ghost in your own life. Jung called this psychological death, the state where you are breathing but not living, where you are moving through your days but feeling nothing, where you have sacrificed so much of yourself for security that there is barely anything left worth protecting. You wake up, you go to work, you perform your role, you come home, you distract yourself, you sleep, you repeat. And somewhere beneath all that routine, beneath all that careful management of risk, there is a part of you screaming. There is a part of you that knows this is not what you came here for. But you silence that voice. You tell yourself you are being responsible. You tell yourself you are being practical. You tell yourself that people who take risks are reckless, immature, foolish. And maybe some of them are, but at least they are alive. At least they are feeling something. At least they are engaged with their existence instead of hiding from it. When you prioritize safety above everything else, you stop taking creative risks. You stop expressing unpopular opinions. You stop pursuing relationships that feel uncertain. You stop building the business you dream about. You stop traveling to places that scare you. You stop having conversations that might lead to conflict. You stop doing anything that could possibly result in failure, rejection, or loss. And you think you are winning. You think you are smart. You think you are protecting yourself. But what you are actually doing is suffocating. You are choosing a life so small, so controlled, so predictable that nothing can hurt you. But nothing can reach you either. No joy, no passion. No meaning, just safety. Just the slow, quiet erosion of everything that makes you human. Here is what nobody tells you about safety. The safer you play it, the more afraid you become. Fear does not decrease with avoidance. It increases. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you reinforce the belief that you are not capable of handling discomfort. Every time you avoid risk, you teach yourself that risk is dangerous. Every time you stay in the known, you make the unknown more terrifying. This is the trap. You think staying safe will eventually make you feel secure, but it does the opposite. It makes you fragile. It makes you dependent. It makes you so afraid of losing what little you have that you become paralyzed. Jung saw this clearly. He understood that the psyche needs challenge, it needs tension, it needs the possibility of failure, because that is where growth happens. That is where you discover what you are actually made of. When everything is safe, when everything is controlled, when everything is predictable, your psyche atrophies. Your courage atrophies. Your capacity for resilience atrophies. You become weak precisely because you have been trying so hard to avoid weakness. The second hidden cost of staying safe is that you project your unlived life onto others. This is crucial. Pay attention. When you are not living fully, when you are suppressing your desires and dreams for the sake of security, that energy does not just disappear. It goes into your shadow, and from there it starts leaking out in ways you do not recognize. You become resentful of people who take risks. You become critical of people who pursue their passions. You become judgmental of people who live differently than you do. Not because they are wrong, but because they are doing what you are too afraid to do. They are living the life you have been denying yourself. This is projection. You are seeing in them what you have disowned in yourself. The part of you that wants adventure. the part of you that wants to create, the part of you that wants to break free from all the obligations and expectations you have been carrying. But instead of acknowledging that part, instead of integrating it, you attack it in others. You call them irresponsible, you call them selfish, you call them reckless, and all of that judgment is just your shadow speaking. It is your unlived life demanding to be seen. And here is the tragedy. While you are busy judging others for living, you are missing your own life. You are spending your energy criticizing instead of creating. You are spending your time explaining why their path will not work instead of building your own path. You are convincing yourself that you are right to play it safe while secretly envying everyone who refuses to live that way. This is exhausting. This is soul-destroying. And it will continue until you stop projecting and start owning what you actually want. The third hidden cost, and this one is devastating, is that you teach everyone around you to be small. Your children watch you. Your partner watches you. Your friends watch you. And they learn from your example. When you consistently choose safety over authenticity, when you consistently prioritize security over purpose, when you consistently avoid risk because you are afraid of what might happen, you are modeling a way of being. You are teaching the people who love you that this is how life is supposed to be lived. Carefully, cautiously, fearfully. Do you understand what you are doing? You are passing on your limitations. You are transmitting your fears. You are ensuring that the next generation will be just as trapped as you are. Because they watched you play it safe, and they assumed that was wisdom. They watched you sacrifice your dreams, and they assumed that was maturity. They watched you settle, and they assumed that was success. And now they are repeating your patterns. They are making the same choices. They are living the same limited life, and they will teach their children to do the same. This is the psychological inheritance you are leaving. Not money, not property, but fear, but smallness, but the belief that safety is more important than meaning. If you are still watching, you are ready for something different. You are ready to stop playing it safe and start playing for real. Subscribe to CJ Legacy if you have not already. Because this channel exists to challenge you, to wake you up, to remind you that you are capable of so much more than you have been settling for. The fourth hidden cost is this. You lose your self-respect. Deep down, beneath all the rationalizations, beneath all the justifications, you know when you are betraying yourself. You know when you are choosing comfort over integrity. You know when you are staying in situations, relationships, jobs, patterns that are slowly killing your spirit. And every time you make that choice, every time you prioritize safety over authenticity, you lose a little respect for yourself. You lose trust in your own courage. You lose faith in your own capacity to handle whatever life brings. Jung believed that self-respect comes from living in alignment with your deepest values, from honoring the call of the self even when it is terrifying, even when it costs you security, even when everyone around you thinks you are crazy. But when you abandon that call, when you silence that inner voice because you are afraid of what it is asking you to do, you create a split. You create a gap between who you are and who you are pretending to be. And that gap becomes a wound. It becomes shame. It becomes the quiet knowledge that you are living a lie. You can hide this from others. You can perform confidence. You can construct an image of success, but you cannot hide it from yourself. Late at night, when the distractions stop, when the persona drops, you feel it. You feel the weight of all the chances you did not take. You feel the regret of all the words you did not speak. You feel the emptiness of a life built on fear instead of courage. And that feeling does not go away. It does not fade. It accumulates. It becomes the background noise of your entire existence until you finally decide to do something about it. Here is the truth. Safety is not actually safe. It feels safe in the short term. But in the long term, it is the most dangerous choice you can make. Because while you are busy protecting yourself from failure, from rejection, from loss, you are guaranteeing something far worse. You are guaranteeing that you will reach the end of your life having never really lived it. You are guaranteeing that you will die with your music still inside you, with your potential unrealized, with your purpose unfulfilled. And that is the real cost. Not that you might fail if you take a risk, but that you will definitely fail if you do not. You will fail at the only thing that actually matters, which is becoming who you were meant to be. So what do? How do you stop paying this cost? How do you reclaim your aliveness, your courage, your self-respect? You start by acknowledging the truth. You admit that you have been playing it safe. You admit that you have been choosing comfort over growth. You admit that you have been living in fear. This is not about self-judgment. This is about self-honesty, because you cannot change what you will not acknowledge. Then you identify one area where you have been avoiding risk, one relationship, one career decision, one creative project, one dream, and you ask yourself, what would I do if I were not afraid? What would I say? What would I create? What would I pursue? Do not think about whether it is realistic. Do not think about whether it will work. Do not think about what other people will think. Just identify what is true for you. What does your soul actually want? And then, and this is the critical part, you take one small step toward it. Not a giant leap, not a reckless decision. One small step. You have a conversation you have been avoiding. You research a possibility you have been dismissing. You invest time in something that matters instead of something that distracts. You practice saying what you actually think instead of what you think others want to hear. One step. That is all. But that one step changes everything because it breaks the pattern. It proves to yourself that you are capable of choosing courage over comfort. It demonstrates that you can handle uncertainty. It reminds you that you are more than your fears. And as you take that step, as you start living from a place of authenticity instead of safety, something remarkable happens. You start feeling alive again. You start feeling engaged with your life instead of just managing it. You start experiencing the full range of human emotion, not just the narrow band you allowed yourself when you were playing it safe. Yes, you will feel fear. Yes, you will feel uncertainty. Yes, you will experience discomfort. But you will also feel joy. You will feel pride. You will feel the profound satisfaction of knowing that you are finally living in alignment with your truth. This is what Jung meant by individuation. It is the process of becoming who you actually are instead of who you were conditioned to be. And it requires you to step out of safety. It requires you to risk being seen, being judged, being rejected. It requires you to prioritize meaning over security. But when you do this, when you finally choose growth over comfort, you discover something extraordinary. You discover that you were never actually safe to begin with. You were just trapped. And now, finally, you are free. If this message is landing for you, if you are feeling the call to stop hiding and start living, subscribe to CJ Legacy right now. This is your community. These are your people. We are all on this path together, learning to choose courage over comfort, authenticity over approval, meaning over safety. Subscribe and keep going. Because the world needs you fully alive, not half asleep. The hidden cost of staying safe is everything that makes life worth living. It is your aliveness. It is your authenticity. It is your self-respect. It is your impact on others. It is your potential. It is your purpose. And you have been paying this cost every single day without even realizing it. But now you know. Now you see. Now you have a choice. You can continue playing it safe and continue paying this devastating price. Or you can step into the unknown, into the uncomfortable, into the territory where real transformation happens. Jung would tell you that the psyche knows the difference between a life lived in fear and a life lived in courage. Your unconscious knows. Your body knows. Your soul knows. And until you align your actions with that deeper knowing, you will remain fragmented, anxious, unfulfilled. But the moment you choose courage, the moment you risk being fully yourself regardless of the cost, everything changes. You integrate, you become whole. This is your life. This is your one chance. Stop wasting it on safety. Stop sacrificing your truth for security that does not even exist. Start taking risks. Start speaking honestly. Start building what matters. Start living the life you came here to live. The cost of staying safe is too high. Pay a different price. Pay the price of growth. Pay the price of courage. Pay the price of authenticity. Because that price, unlike the price of safety, actually gets you somewhere worth going.